Most advice about detachment is wrong. When people tell you to stop caring, ignore the message, throw your phone away, distract yourself, it sounds like strength, but that's not detachment. It's just the opposite extreme of the same problem. If you're waiting for a text, refreshing your email, obsessing over an opportunity, forcing yourself not to care doesn't make you calm. It just turns anxiety into avoidance. And avoidance isn't detachment. It's attachment in disguise. Because when you're constantly trying not to care, the outcome still has control over you. Real detachment isn't pretending you don't care. It's learning how to care without becoming controlled by the outcome. So here are 3 psychological principles that will show you how to become genuinely unbothered by taking back control of your emotional state. Let's get into it. Principle 1. Avoidance is anxiety in reverse. When people realize they're becoming obsessive about something, they try to correct it, but they overcorrect. And from the outside, it looks like progress. But here's what's actually happening. Think of attachment like a dial. On one end, anxiety. You chase the outcome, monitor it, keep trying to close the gap between you and the thing you want. On the other end, avoidance. You shut down, suppress the feeling, act like the situation doesn't matter, even though it clearly still does. But avoidance isn't freedom. It's often just anxiety turned inward. You still care. You still feel the tension. You're just trying not to show it, sometimes not even to yourself. So people spend their lives bouncing between these 2 extremes, thinking they're in control. But real detachment doesn't live on either end of that dial. It lives somewhere else entirely. It's being able to say, yes, I want this, and also, my emotional stability doesn't depend on getting it. That's not indifference. It's a completely different relationship with desire, and it only becomes possible once you understand what attachment is actually made of. Principle 2. Attachment feeds on feeling, not outcome. When you obsess over something, it's rarely about the thing itself. It's about the feeling you believe it will give you. Maybe it's validation, security, relief. But once your mind links a specific feeling to a specific outcome, something subtle and disruptive happens. Your brain stops seeing alternatives. Now, it isn't just a message you want. It's that message from that person. And underneath everything, your mind starts running a powerful story. This is the only way I'll feel okay. That's why attachment becomes so intense. Because it stops feeling like desire. It starts feeling like survival. And when something feels like survival, the brain goes into high alert. Which is why you keep thinking about it, checking it, monitoring it. Not because the outcome is actually that important, but because your brain believes it's the only path to the emotion you want. So the real question isn't, how do I stop caring? The real question is, what emotion do I believe this outcome will give me? Because once you identify the feeling you're chasing, you realize the outcome was never the source of the feeling. It was just the story you attached to it. And once your mind understands that the emotion you want could come from many places, not just this one outcome, the attachment starts to loosen its grip. And once the emotional link starts to weaken, you begin to notice something else. Principle 3. Urgency is attachment's engine. Your mind doesn't just tell you that you want something. It tells you that you need it right now. The message should come today. The situation needs to be resolved immediately. The uncertainty feels unbearable. And the moment something feels urgent, your brain treats it like a threat that has to be neutralized. So you react. You replay the conversation for the 100th time, searching for an answer that isn't there. Or you go to the opposite extreme. You shut the whole thing down and perform indifference. But both reactions are doing the same thing. They're attempts to escape the discomfort of not knowing. Real detachment requires a different skill, a much quieter one. It's the ability to sit with a small amount of uncertainty without immediately reacting to it, just allowing the tension to exist for a moment without treating it like an emergency. Because when you practice that repeatedly, your nervous system learns something important. The discomfort is temporary. Nothing catastrophic is happening, and you don't need immediate closure to remain emotionally stable. And once that urgency fades, being calm and unbothered stops feeling like effort. It starts to feel like your default state. So becoming unbothered isn't about forcing yourself not to care, and it's not about swinging from anxiety into avoidance. Real detachment happens when you understand the structure of the attachment itself. You start to see the emotion you were chasing through the outcome, the false urgency your mind was creating, and the patterns that kept pulling you back into reactive behavior. And once those illusions break, the attachment starts to fade. You can still want things, you can still care about outcomes, but they no longer control your emotional state. And that's what being unbothered actually means. Not emotional numbness, just nothing having more power over you than you're choosing to give it. If this resonated, let me know in the comments what topics you'd like to see next. This is what we explore here on Skinniest Latte, the place where we wake up, sip up, level up.